Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This has been probably most definitely my most requested video, especially in the last 6 months or so. My fitness journey, my lifestyle of healthy eating journey, all that stuff. I think in the last 4 years, there's been a major shift. I obviously had a baby and I'm a year postpartum. When do you stop calling yourself postpartum? I feel like maybe I should stop now. Maybe I'm forever postpartum after 3 kids. Who knows? If you want to hear all about my fitness and food and overall balancing lifestyle journey, then just keep on watching. I don't think I sat down to film this because I just didn't know how to make it really valuable to you guys and not overly chatty, or I don't know. I think it's just gonna be overly chatty and hopefully it's valuable to you. I think I'm gonna start off by prefacing I am not a nutritionist. I am not a personal trainer. I am not a professional in any of this stuff. I think that's really important to state, only because everyone's journey is gonna look so different. Everyone's wants and needs and their life in general and what their lifestyle requires or needs is going to look different. So let's just keep that in mind. I will say growing up, I had pretty positive body image views. I don't know if that's from not being in a school environment for the first 12, 13 years of my life and not having that like comparison within class with other girls. I don't know. I obviously was homeschooled until I was 12 and was in dance and swimming and really active things. And I also had a mom who, whether or not she struggled with something, never verbalized it in front of me. And I never saw her talk about herself negatively or mention things. So I do think that highly impacted my body image journey throughout my life in a very positive way, obviously. I think naturally as women and men, we are gonna be our worst critic. And so there's highs and lows, especially through that preteen, teenager stage, even early 20s. It's gonna be different for everyone. And it's gonna be a scale of intensity for everyone. I feel like this is all known stuff, but I'm just prefacing my journey with, I guess, a healthy lifestyle. So ultimately, I've always had a decently healthy lifestyle. I was always active. I liked healthy foods, but I also just love food in general. Like I've always been such a big eater. Like I love my food. Fast forward to having a baby, obviously having Olive. I never had like a really intense fitness schedule. I kind of did what I thought I had to do, like really intense impact station style workouts where I never saw really great results. I would go running here and there, especially after I had Olive. I started that Couch to 5K program, which is actually quite a popular video on my channel. That was what, 6 years ago? And I think it was really great for me at the time. It really helped transform my body postpartum, again, around that year postpartum with Olive, my first baby. And I did learn to actually like running because I hated running prior to that. I just did it because I thought I had to do it. So it changed my mindset around running, but I definitely have not run as consistently since. Let's fast forward again after Oscar, which is 5 years ago to the day. He was a pandemic COVID baby. And so it was a time where personally, I really just like let loose in the best way possible. I felt so calm and at peace. We had beautiful weather here. He was such a chill, easygoing baby. There was schemes whenever things started to open up again, where in restaurants, they wanted you to come out and help them out because obviously a lot of businesses suffered during that time. And so we definitely ate out to help out, let's just say. And I think that just like really created a bad relationship with overeating when we went out. Like we ate so much and we ate out so much. Again, every lifestyle is gonna look different, but we definitely have a kitchen. We were able to get groceries and we just weren't making our foods. We were getting takeout. We were going out for dinner and lunch and even breakfast all the time. And it even got to the point where I feel like Patty and I were like, we craved a home cooked meal. Mind you, I could cook at the time. There was no problem with that. I just didn't have joy cooking. Patty would cook really well, but we just made really elaborate recipe meals that just weren't realistic for an everyday schedule for us during the week. I'm trying to create little like points to lead up to where I am now. So hopefully this isn't too rambly. But again, that year postpartum with Oscar, I actually think I was bigger a year postpartum than I was a month postpartum with Oscar, just because of all these bad habits that had crept in. I was trying to do running, but I just didn't feel the same as I did after I had Olive, and it felt really forced. I kind of just felt like blah. Again, I knew how to dress myself. I didn't really feel negative towards how I looked. I just didn't feel good, like internally. I felt like very blah about everything. I was starting to get really uncomfortable in my clothes as well. And that's when I started to do, I think I actually worked with the app Jamondo, and I tried out a couple of the programs that were like those high intensity ones because I thought that's what you had to do to kind of shift body fat or weight. And I just never have liked those. I never have enjoyed high intensity style workouts. And that's kind of when that Pilates was starting to creep in a little bit more. And so there was a Pilates program on Jamondo. I really noticed a change whenever I started Pilates. Now this is more at that like 3.5 year ago point where I started Pilates, and I actually started to notice a change within my body. And this is what I will probably repeat a lot in this video. If you love what you're doing exercise wise, I think your body really responds to it. You're just doing it more because you actually enjoy that exercise, and that's where you're going to see results, obviously with consistency. So I was doing this Pilates strong program on the Jamondo app. There's so many out there, but I was consistent with it, and that's where I noticed a little shift with my body, and I was starting to feel really confident again, a little bit more comfortable in my clothes, and I could just see my confidence rising just from starting Pilates. Like no running, no high impact, just the Pilates at home with an app on my mat. Then I think that's where I started to look at food a little bit more. This was a slow entry into like changing up our diet. Patty is a 6'5" male who's quite active. He just does not have a large appetite. Like he is a small eater, and I think everyone's always like surprised by that. I grew up with two brothers that genuinely, my mom was batch cooking for like a meal because they ate so much, and I think I naturally was around that my whole life, that I just would always eat a lot. So I think you have to figure out food-wise what your body likes and how to react to that. So when it comes to food, what I like is good portions because I love my food. I'm not a snacky eater. I love snacky style foods, but I love a good amount of food on my plate. So that's where you have to kind of start looking at what food is on your plate to fill you. That kind of came over time, over a couple years, if I'm being totally honest. Ultimately, my goal was I didn't want to have to keep buying frozen pre-made dinners. I wanted to actually make my meals. And I think we went through ebbs and flows of what worked. We started off with, saving so many recipes or getting recipe books. And it was just so many ingredients, so many steps. And it kind of put us off like wanting to make these healthier meals, but there was just so much effort into it. We tried, all the delivery service style meals as well, where the ingredients were in it and you made it. I mean, it worked on and off, but I think for consistency, simplicity is key. And I think that's where people kind of get turned off with healthier style eating, is when it gets really overcomplicated. And I mean, now with having 3 kids and running a business, we need things that aren't overly time consuming and where we feel nourished and full and everyone is well fed and happy. Going back to Pilates, we'll go back into more food because I think it has changed over the last 2 years specifically. Pilates was great. Patty had a membership at a local gym and he loves those tactical style workouts where it's a team, it's quite intense. I've done that in the past and I genuinely do not look forward to it. So I don't think my body is like giving it all it has to give because I just don't like it. It's not for me. And I just never really saw results from it personally. So I was always scared of the gym. I mean, I used to go and like walk on a treadmill or an elliptical. So I feel like I didn't ever get like the full, purpose of it. So now we're going to move it up to about 2 years ago. And this is when I introduced weight training into the mix. And this is where for my body type, the composition of my body completely changed. Pilates absolutely gave the kickstart it needed. But I think from being quite active my whole life with competitive Irish dancing, competitive swimming, I had a lot of muscle tone, and Pilates definitely helped with, posture and stability and, elongating my muscles. But where I saw definition and actual composition change was when I introduced weight training. Mind you, I was terrified stepping into like a dark gym that seemed like really intense at first. So Patty dropped the classes for like the first 2 months just to take me so that I could kind of, feel a little bit more comfortable. And the gym is owned by a guy here called Gordy, and he does online programs. And basically we sat down with him and he was looking for, a more local content creator at the time to help promote that style of what he does with programs. And I was obviously starting weight training. So it was a perfect match at that time. He created a program that was incredibly entry level for me. Again, I have never done proper weight training in my life, and I had just turned 32. So it was a great time because I know with women and our bone health and just in general, weight training is so great. It doesn't need to be crazy at all. Go at your own pace. If that's something you want to get competitive with, great. If not, if you're just doing it for, health reasons, that's also great. This is 2 years ago. I have just started the gym and I fell pregnant with our lovely Josephine, and that definitely was, as you know, a little bit of a surprise for me. So I actually did keep up with going to the gym and doing Pilates in my first trimester because I think it was a little bit of a distraction for me, if I'm being totally honest. It was something to focus on. It was something a little bit newer. Obviously, having that routine whenever you're pregnant, normally I was so sick actually the first 12 weeks, but because I was so distracted, I didn't feel it as much whenever I was at the gym. So I was able to work out my entire pregnancy actually until about 38 weeks is when I stopped. And I had never weightlifted or properly trained throughout any of my previous pregnancies. There is like that running joke, whenever you get to your best shape, that's when you fall pregnant again. And I had felt really good about myself. I was feeling really strong, really healthy, balanced in our food and, relationship with it. The garbage truck is just picking up the garbage here. So sorry if there's any background noise. Okay, I think them getting the garbage is throwing me off track. I'm trying to remember what I'm talking about here. So I remember going to my 12-week scan with Josie. I have not stepped on a scale since my 12-week scan with Oscar, which was 3 years prior at the time. And she obviously had all my notes because you have one green folder of all your pregnancies. And she said I was 8 kg lighter than I was at my 12-week scan with Oscar. And that's obviously a 3-year gap. And naturally, I was done having babies prior to Josie. So there was a big shift body-wise. So I was going into my third pregnancy, my most fit out of all of my pregnancies. So it was just a different one in general. Gordy would change it whenever I would enter a new trimester, just if I had more energy or less energy, which is I think really important with your trainer. He didn't train with me in person. It was like an online one or on the app that he has, and I would just follow it. So naturally you can be anywhere in the world and follow a program. And I think that's really important from a trainer, is listening to what your wants and needs are and actual results. Naturally, I wasn't looking to get super fit because I was growing a baby. So it was just keeping up with fitness, feeling strong, but also making sure that I was safe and comfortable. And that was absolutely the top priority out of all the programs throughout the year I was pregnant with Josie. I think we changed the program maybe 3 times in my pregnancy, and there's weekly check-ins for accountability. So super, super, super helpful. What I noticed with having a little bit more of a structured workout schedule in this pregnancy prior to my other 2 was the recovery was incredibly quick. I have 3 birth stories on my YouTube if you want to go watch them. I do think the recovery post baby delivery was absolutely the quickest. I just felt like myself a little bit faster. Even the way I held her was different. I mean, she was still almost 8 pounds, so she was definitely in there, but I think my muscles were just stronger throughout that pregnancy, that it just held her in a little bit more. And I do feel like my core stayed intact throughout that pregnancy as well. And I felt just a little bit more like myself after having her. I don't know how to really put it, but I think once you've had a kid, you kind of know, especially by your third, how your body, is after, and you're still tender and soft and a little bit more of a vulnerable stage, but I felt really good. Now let's pause on fitness and go back to food. I do feel like in the last year more so, we've really leaned into that whole food, simple style eating. I think that just works for us. We've just kept it super simple. I think we prep a lot of our food, like meats, on a Sunday night so that they're packed up for lunches. And then I really go heavy on our produce. We prep a lot of produce on a Sunday night or a Monday morning, have it all in containers ready to go. So whenever we're hungry or snacky, it's right there to eat. And I think because we've been eating pretty well for the last, started 4 years ago, but I'd say more intentionally in the last 2 years, it's just a part of our lifestyle now. I think the biggest takeaway whenever someone asks, how do you start with healthy eating or any tips and tricks? I do think just keeping it simple, maintainable is the biggest key. Consistency is going to give results. And for us, we love our protein packed meals. We love different meats. We don't cut out anything. So we eat our carbs, we eat our healthy fats, we eat sugar. Everything is still within our diet. We just try to prioritize the healthier aspects more largely. Nothing is cut out because I feel like that's not a lifestyle balance, if I'm being totally honest. You need a little bit of everything. And again, I'm not looking to go into like a fitness competition or anything like that. Training postpartum from about 8 weeks to now has definitely been a journey. Again, Gordy made the programs really appropriate for the stages I was strength-wise. My core took the longest in finding my balance. I actually did find Pilates a lot harder than weight training once I had Josie, just because it's so core focused and stability focused. And that was something I struggled with a little bit more than weights, where it was more strength. And I feel like I still had that even though I just had Josie. And then around January of this past year, I think I've been able to really push myself a little bit more. But around March, April, like 3 months ago, is when I really noticed like, oh, I have a lot more strength, I have a lot more energy, and that's where we are today. I still do my 3 weight training sessions a week. I do around 2 to 3 Pilates whenever I have time, normally in the afternoon before I pick up the kids. And then when it's nice out and I have the energy, I'll go for a run. But I don't really do too much cardio unless it's like walking or the casual run. So my main priority focus is weight training and Pilates and balanced eating. Hopefully while I'm editing this, I'm inputting enough footage for you guys to kind of gather what a week looks like exercise and food wise. I do tend to save a lot of things to my highlights on Instagram. What else is there to know? I just feel like starting is the hardest part. Like starting the gym took me clearly 32 years to stay consistent, and now it will be 2 years in September that I've gone every single week except for obviously postpartum for 2 months. But I love it, and I think that's another takeaway is find something that works for you. It might not be weight training, it might not be Pilates, it might be another form of physical movement. I think just move. Find something that you enjoy, that your body enjoys, and same with food. If you have intolerances, obviously take that into consideration, but find the diet that your body reacts to. I find there's some things that my body likes a little bit more than others. I don't think you can just follow one person's advice because we're all genetically have a different makeup. Even when it comes to like body composition, like I naturally had muscle tone already in my body. That's just being revived a little bit, but I don't have super long, supermodel legs. They're definitely curvier with muscle, and that's okay. I think realizing and learning a little bit more with your body comes with age, if I'm being totally honest, but I'm definitely the most healthy and I feel the most fit after 3 kids. And I think that's something I would have never thought. Finding something that works for you and your schedule and your lifestyle is massive. And it's not a quick 3-month fix. I hate whenever I see like, get your perfect body in 3 months. It's the life journey we want, the balance of it all. This has definitely been a 4-year journey with a baby included, and it's still ongoing, and I'm sure things will change along the way. There's not a one size fits all, especially when it comes to fitness and food and all of that, because all of our lives look very different. So hopefully that comes across, that this isn't telling you what to do to look a certain way. It's just purely telling you what I do, because I get a lot of questions about my fitness and food. So hopefully this was insightful. Take what you want from it, leave what you don't. Please leave any questions in the comments, especially if I forgot something or you're wanting to know something else. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Actually, before you guys go, Cinnamon Lip Stain from Huda Beauty, Rendezvous Lip Liner, and Bea Lipgloss. This is Stable Lane, this is Tesco. Mama Necklace is Freena, little E is the Diamond Store UK, and Birthstone is Hey Harper. And that's everything.